Hey everybody, Lorelia here, coming to you with a message. Uh I guess I had to think for a second. But as you see the title says, leveraging got cash, leveraging credit. And so let me kind of put a disclaimer out there. This is a very financially mature conversation that I'm going to have. And what do I mean by that? You know, you never know the level of education that someone may have when it is in regarding credit. So, what I'm going to talk about is not for someone who is trying to pay off debt, can't really manage their own credit, trying to pay off their credit cards. Just kind of like, I would say, the Dave Ramsey or the infancy stages when it comes to credit, because a lot of people really look at credit as almost like um, a very um, sore place. And what do I mean by a sore place? Um, they've been able to access some credit in the past, but they were unable to manage that credit. So what happens is that they may have gotten themselves caught up in a jam, and they've been unable to pay off their debts. And so they kind of look at credit like the boogeyman. And that's why I said they may be at the Dave Ramsey stage of dealing with credit. But as you mature, and that's why I said this is a financially mature video, you will begin to learn, and I did videos on it about really the whole industry of credit is a big banking scam. When you really understand, and when I say understand, meaning the mechanics of it, how banks really design you having access to credit to pretty much spend money, and it puts money in their pockets. But if it's done correctly, you can truly leverage it for it to be a win-win for you. So that's why I said that this conversation is primarily about leveraging credit. Because right now, there is a class that I have. It's credit to cash flow, and we talk about advanced topics in this area in regards to credit. Like, this is not a class for, how do I pay a debt collector, even though in the past couple of videos I've been talking about that. But this is not that class is not for, how do I pay off my debts. I do have something for that. I have resources, I have products for individuals who are at that stage. But if you truly want to get to the place of building wealth, you have to leverage something. Like, the biggest misnomer when it comes to building wealth, and like I said, this video is a financially mature conversation, because unfortunately everyone is really not in it to build wealth. Like most people, they can't even see how they're going to put food on the table, or see, how to get through the week. So the conversation of building wealth is so not something they're pursuing. But if you are that person who is in pursuit of building wealth and want to know how it's not done by you using cash. You will find out when you're in certain circles, people aren't using their own cash. They're just not doing it. I recently had a conversation with an investor here in my local market, and he reached out to me for a consultation, and because he's trying to do some things with his credit, because he's realized he's gotten to a point in his real estate endeavors that he can't just use cash. You will find that people who really gravitate to the whole I use cash for everything conversation are really people who haven't quite mastered how to leverage credit. Like I said, they may have had credit in the past, they may have made a few mistakes with credit, and they may have even been able to get out of the hole. So now when they get access to credit again, they kind of like they're scared of it. It's like the boogeyman. Oh, I don't want to use it. I don't know. And really that really comes from a sense of fear and just really not knowing how it works. So what I have right here to really hide, my personal information. I've said in other videos that the banks want to lend you money. There's so many gimmicks online where they're telling people that, they can get trade lines or what have you, and all this other stuff. And the reason why I'm looking down is I'm trying to see how I can show this and not hide it. And hide my information. So I think this is good. But right here in front of me, it's probably hard to see, is a check. This is a check. My name is right here. So I'm showing you a portion of it, my last name. And why am I showing you that? I'm showing you that because I was recently mailed some checks from a particular credit card company that I do business with that want me to spend money. And so what does that mean for you? Well, I don't know what it means to you, but for me, that is my ability to leverage someone else's money for me to be able to either buy assets or create assets. Because I'm not using none of my own money. Why would I want to tie up my own money when I can leverage someone else's? And I understand, one may say, well, Lorraine, the reason why they give you that check is because they want you to spend money. Oh, I get it. Yeah, they want you to spend money. It's going to go against your credit card limit, and you got to pay it back and all this other stuff. But at the end of the day, I am leveraging someone else's money. That's how the game is played. Like wealthy people or a person who is in pursuit of building wealth is not trying to do it trying to do it themselves. History has shown, me being an African American woman, not making this a political thing or a race thing, but history has shown that this country in the United States was built on the backs of a certain race of people, being hence African Americans. So if you study wealth building, if you look at how wealth was built, in certain countries, it was always built using and leveraging either a group of people or resources. It's never, I'm going to do it on my own. See, that is the BS that people who are not financially mature think. That is why you will find people who will say, who will have a 700 credit score and they not doing nothing, because they really truly believe that credit or using credit or leveraging credit is the boogeyman. So they're trying to do everything with cash. No one's doing that. If you were to sit with any wealthy business person, they would not be telling you to do it on your, or do it yourself. I was recently a local investor here in my market, and in my state. He talked about raising capital. There are masterminds and groups that I'm a part of when it comes to real estate, whether it's note investing, whether it's apartment syndications. They're raising money. They're leveraging a bank's money. But at the end of the day, it's not a bunch of people sitting around trying to figure out, well, I ain't using no credit. I ain't using no credit. I'm just trying to save my cash. I'm just going to save cash, 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 because credit is the boogeyman. And I totally get it. And it's not to make a mockery. For some people, that's just where they're at. Where they're at, I recently did a live last night or yesterday in the daytime, and a few people were saying, I'm trying to pay off debts, this, that, and the other. I mean, I can tell you right now, if someone is trying to pay off debts and they're over a certain threshold, about over 15,000, it's going to be hard to do if your salary is only double that. And what do I mean? A person trying to pay off $20,000 worth of debt and they only make about 40 and 50,000. And we already know that the salary that your employer gives you is not what you take home. So if you grossing $55,000 a year, you're not bringing 55,000 home. You're only probably bringing home 35. And then you have debts that have accumulated, up to 20,000. It doesn't, you don't have to be a mathematician to try to, and remind you, that's compounded interest on that debt. Not simple interest, is compounded interest. So what does that mean? That means that that's compounded on a daily rate. Darn, the letter fell. Because I was just going to break out the APR. So a person is in debt for 20,000, make 55 plus, possibly from their job, but they don't bring 55 home. They bring 35,000 home because, once again, they got to pay taxes. And we all know that wage earners pay the most taxes in this country. So the person is really almost at a standstill when it comes to trying to pay off debts. So now you see why people look at credit as the boogeyman. Because if they have been fortunate enough to pay it off, it was so grueling and so arduous and so hard to pay it off that the last thing they want to think about, if they've paid it off, that, oh my God, I'm, possibly using it again, and it to put them in the same place. Instead of looking at it, but this is the twist side of it. Because one may say, well, Lorraine, what are the benefits? What are the benefits of using of credit? Well, if I'm going to use credit, like, with myself, I only use credit for it to produce me money. That's it. I'm not using credit to pay, no trips. I get that. There's videos on there where they tell you how to accumulate points and all this other stuff. That's not my thing. I don't do that. I'm only interested in using credit because I'm looking at how much money I can make by using that credit. Whether it's assets that I'm going to create or it's going to be assets that I'm going to purchase. So for me, it's a win-win because I'm not leveraging my own money. I'm leveraging someone else's money. In turn, that money I'm leveraging is going to make me more money. You get that? I'm using someone else's money, in turn is going to make me more money. How people get behind the 8 ball is that they're using credit and it ain't going to give them no income. What it's going to do is dig them deeper and deeper in a hole financially. And that's why most people will look at debt like the boogeyman. Because even if you try to go through life trying to pay things with cash, if your interest is to build wealth, you will hit a brick wall. Because you will be using so much of your own resources. You will hit a brick wall. So I just want to show you in real life, in real time, how you don't have to fall prey of the gimmicks, the online gimmicks. of the buy and trade lines and all these other gimmicky things that, you know, people are telling people to do in order to access more capital in terms of credit. But of course, you have to have something to get something. And so the only time that I can really see a person falling for the gimmicky stuff out there is the person who's trying to get something for nothing. It's the person who knows that their personal credit is shot. They really don't have a real business that produces money. But yet and still, in their feeble mind, they really are thinking that if only I can get more cash, I can get stuff popping. No, you can get some stuff popping without using, credit. Credit is, it will help. It will allow you to leverage. It will allow you to scale. But there's some things that a person can do to start off. And those are some of the things that I talk about in the higher level one-on-one classes I have. Because like I said, I don't really do too many, the one-on-one classes talking about how to deal with a debt collector, how to pay. I may do YouTube lives on it, but it's not something that I want, because I have enough content on that. I'm interested in talking about higher level things and having higher level conversations. And for you to really understand, for example, with the Fed lowering interest rates, do you have any idea how does that affect you having credit, or if you have credit cards? Like that's a conversation. Is that it? Are you leveraging the fact that the Feds lowered interest rates? Or are you even looking into how you can take advantage of these low interest rates? They said the interest rates have not been this low since '08. Now, in the last recession, I was financially in a bad place. Couldn't take advantage of a lot of stuff. But I know this time around, I'm going to be in position. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's time to have some real mature conversations when it comes to credit. But that's only if you're in pursuit to build wealth. And I get it. Some people aren't. Because like I said, if a person has $20,000 worth of debt and they make $55,000 from their job, they only bringing home $35,000. So now they got debts that are more than half of what they earn from a job. And now do you see why some people are on the rat wheel and financially can't keep their head above water? But that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. If you want to learn more about those classes that I was talking about, they're not for the weak at heart. Like I said, it's not your how do I raise my credit score. I have something for that. But these classes, if you go to cashflow.yourmoneymentor.com, you can learn more about it. But if you're someone who says, you know what, I do want to raise my credit score, I do need help with my credit, the links will be below. If you want to do it yourself, I have links below the video. But if you're looking for some assistance, you can go to services.yourmoneymentor.com. So that's, that's how it's done, man. You don't have to fall prey to gimmicks. You don't have to, it just takes some work. And unfortunately, we live in a microwave society where everybody wants everything fast and in a hurry and don't want to do no work. And unfortunately, when you're at that place where you don't want to do any work, you kind of want things to just fall in your lap, you're going to lose every time. So once again, this is Lorelia. I'm signing off. All the links will be below this video, and I will talk to you in the next video. Okay, bye-bye.